I honestly thought we were kind of done with all of this Colin Sexton news, especially after Kobe Altman's press conference, where he kind of came out and said that he's really looking to see what the future of Colin Sexton and Darius Garland, aka Sexton, can potentially look like in the near future. We also heard him kind of say that he wants to keep Kevin Love in Cleveland, which is probably another discussion for a different video to voice my, let's just say, opinions on that matter. But for those of you who haven't heard, there has been a huge report going out yet again that the Cavaliers could explore trading Colin Sexton now to avoid a contract extension, and this is all being reported by Terry Pluto / the Cleveland player dealer. There's also been reports from Cleveland.com that we've heard as well. So many different reports, so it's really weird as a Cavs fan to hear Kobe Altman say this one thing in an interview, and then all of a sudden there are heaps of reporters coming out later and saying that he's could be completely lying and that Colin Sexton could be getting traded. Look, of course this is a huge negative, but what could be a positive out of this, if we're going to try and find a positive somewhere, is that maybe the Kevin Love one was, not truthful as well, and who knows, maybe Kevin Love could still potentially be getting bought out or traded. I would much rather that, because I think the Cavs need to get rid of Kevin Love. Again, I'll potentially be making a separate video on, let's just say again, my opinions on that type of matter. But right now, we are talking about Colin Sexton. I think it is extremely interesting to, of course, see how this is going to go with Sexton. I don't know why the Cavaliers are still looking to trade him. Look, I know that Sexton's not the best player on this team. Like, if you're a Cavs fan, you probably know that Darius Garland has overtaken him by now. Look, he's not scoring more than him. If he wanted to, he probably could. But Darius Garland is much smoother with the ball. I think he's a better leader. He is a way better playmaker. He could even be a better defender now. Colin Sexton can just be so inconsistent on defense sometimes. I suppose it's pretty hard when you're guarding shooting guards that are like 6'5" and you're 6'1". So I guess props to Sexton on that one. But again, Colin Sexton is still having, he had a very, very good year. And there are a couple issues that I can look at with Colin Sexton. First of all, let's look at his great year that he had. He was in All-Star contention at the start of the year. He was averaging 24.3 points per game, 3.1 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 37% from 3 on 35.3 minutes per game. His efficiency relatively did get a little bit better. Not exactly by much, but he actually still looked to be somewhat of a consistent player. The issue I have with Colin Sexton is trading him would be absolutely stupid. Yes, you might get some good pieces out of him to build around Jarrett Allen, Isaac Okoro, and Darius Garland, but I don't think you're going to get as much as what you maybe think you're going to get. And I'm saying this to Kobe Altman. There's not exactly a huge market for players like Colin Sexton anymore, and he should know this. He traded Jordan Clarkson away for a couple seconds and Dante Exum. He should know there isn't exactly the best market out there for players like Colin Sexton anymore, who are those ISO type scorers, very heavy scorers that usually come off the bench, but of course can potentially start, like Sexton, he does start. So I don't think he's going to get much. Secondly, with a guy like Colin Sexton, who, again, when you look at Cleveland, have had a lot of players like Kyrie Irving betray them and leave, and a lot of players don't fully embrace the chemistry that could be built at Cleveland. When you look at a guy like Colin Sexton, who has done exactly that, he has given his heart and soul to Cleveland, why would you want to trade him? There is no reason to trade Colin Sexton at all. He has done everything pretty much he possibly could have done for this franchise. And I think even next season he could have a better year where he averages like 25, 26 points per game. And maybe gets that efficiency up and maybe needs less of the ball to do so. Less of the ball to get those points. I do think, though, Colin Sexton needs to chill out and take a backseat to Darius Garland, which is the hard thing. You can't really say to the kid, hey man, you're clearly not the best player on this team. Let Garland do what he wants to do. It's really, really hard to say that to a player. Like, extremely hard. It's not as easy as what some people think it is. But he should know now that I think he needs to become, when Garland is on the court, Sexton needs to lay low. He needs to become more of that, catch and shoot type of player, and to only ISO the ball when Garland gets fully in trouble and there's only a couple seconds left on the clock. He cannot be ISOing the ball with 18 seconds left on the shot clock. He cannot be doing that when Garland could be running a play and setting up an open 3 or setting up an open lob or setting Collin Sexton up to an open 3. This is the issue I have with Sexton. Yes, 24 points per game is quite a bit, but he gets all of those points kind of in junk points, I'd like to say, and by, maybe taking the points off other players, sharing the load around, and creating more opportunity, etc. He just does these ISO type plays, which don't work unless you're a contending team, like, who really needs that in some cases if they're down bad. Like, you look at the Utah Jazz, if they're not scoring, maybe Jordan Clarkson can save them. The Lakers, Dennis Schroeder can come and save them. When he was even on OKC, Schroeder would often bail out OKC quite a bit and help out for a win by just being some extra scoring off the bench. This is where I think Collin Sexton needs to come in. I think Colin Sexton shouldn't be focused on getting 26 points per game next season. I think he should be focused on getting the similar points that he's gotten this season, but getting those points in more of a way of him not isoing the ball. For example, from catch and shoot, possessions, maybe him shooting more threes, maybe from a catch and shoot on the mid-range, something like that. Because right now, a lot of those points are coming from ISO plays, which usually don't end well, and it doesn't help out the team much at all. I do think he needs to become more of like that catch and shoot type player for Darius Garland, or more of like the ISO type player, but when Darius Garland isn't on the court. And I think he can do that. He does have the capabilities. It will be hard, but I think he will learn. I think he will learn and know that that's what he needs to do if he wants the Cavs to start, winning some more games. And then again, where the Cavs go in the draft, I think will be very interesting. I think Kuminga would be cool, but he's just not really a catch-and-shoot type of guy. And if you look at their starting 5, if they do get Kuminga and play him at power forward, who is not a great shooter, I believe he's like 28% from 3, then you've got him being a 28% from 3 type of dude. Jarrett Allen is basically 0% from 3. Isaac Okoro, who's getting better as a 3-point shooter, but is still like less than 35%, I believe. Garland, who's like 40% from 3 type dude, but then Sexton as well, who's about 38%, but a lot of them come from ISO plays rather than catch and shoot type guys. I do think they need to go out and find like a shooter in free agency, like an Evan Fournier, or like a Bogdanovich type of guy. I think would be kind of cool for them to maybe see. And I think their team needs to work on the catch and shoot a lot in pre-season, especially if they get, well, I hope that we win the lottery and get a player like Jonathan Kuminga. It would be cool. I hope that we don't fall down to like pick 7 or 8, which I know could happen. But again, whoever we get at power forward, again, Isaac Okoro as well, they need to work on their catch and shoot shots. And I think Isaac Okoro needs to work on his ball handling, etc., and learning how to be more of a scorer. Again, for Kuminga, it will probably take time. Whether they keep Kevin Love or not will be interesting. Don't get me wrong, Kevin Love's a cool player, but he's too old for this team, and he still takes up $30 million a season, which could be used on valuable shooters like Evan Fournier or a Bogdanovich type of player. So that's where I think the Cavs are kind of in that type of issue. I think even going out for a John Collins type of dude in free agency who's working on his catch and shoot would be pretty cool, especially if the Atlanta Hawks can't match that. That would be kind of nice. But it will be very interesting to see how this all, of course, unfolds. But of course, I'd very much like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA content and NBA news. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, MIRO/vlogging channels if you haven't already. And don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for them will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.